What's up, guys? Happy Friday. It is April 29th, 2022. There are 13 games on the docket tonight. There's nothing like a giant Coors Field Friday night in MLB. Whatever you think's going to happen is not going to happen. It's going to be chaos, but it's a controlled chaos, and we love it. We love it. So in this video, in this stream, we're going to be researching all the games. Hold on, let's bring the vibes up a little bit with some, there we go. All right, cool. So we're going to try to keep it concise, maybe a little faster than usual. I know there's only one NBA game tonight, but we will still be doing an NBA stream in about, I don't know, 2 hours, something like that, because Josh is a psycho and he's probably watching game film on reverse, and I don't know, insane. He's insane. So let's open up. Let's start the process. First of all, I always love to start researching with the weather. So we'll check out rotogrinder/weather/MLB. I have the Angels and White Sox game as yellow-orange. Mr. Kevin Ross says game should start dry or dry-ish, with rain getting steadily heavier late. Best guess at this point would be they either finish it out soaked or have an early conclusion. But after the game is official, we'll need a little pregame radar check to know more. All right, cool. So we're going to add that to the notes. Let's put, actually, let me just, weather watch. Angels, White Sox. Looks like the rest of the slate's pretty solid for weather, but we'll keep an eye on it. Gusty winds are blowing left to right, not in and out. All right, cool. Yankee game has a little bit of rain concerns. There's a very nasty storm moving into KC this evening, but there's a very good likelihood that the storm arrives after the game. Winds out to left. Ooh, that's what we need. Those righty pull hitters like Aaron Judge. I guess he can go oppo to have a little extra boost to combat the dead ball. I'm here for that. The Cardinals hosting the D-backs. Oh, man, the bane of my existence, Madison Bumgarner. This is like twofold here, because I've been stacking Cardinals against lefties for years, and it like almost never works. And then I've been stacking against Mad Bum, that almost never works for me. So Unstoppable Force, Immovable Object, I'll be over here sulking in a corner. And then the Reds in Coors says winds coming in with gusts from left around 25 miles an hour sustained, with gusts around 40. It's still Coors, but maybe not as quite as Coorsy and as Coors can be. Also worth mentioning, the winds will be down throughout the game. All right, cool. So that's something to keep an eye on. Shout out to Kevin Roth. Follow him on Twitter. Shout out to Rotogrinders. Make sure you bookmark that tab. So we're going to go game by game here. I have some of the games entered in the spreadsheet, not all of them. And as lineups come out, we'll adjust accordingly, or we'll add games to the spreadsheet as necessary. Make sure my mic is good. All right, cool. What's up, chat? What up, Sean? What up, Gilbert? Hope you guys doing all right. Man. Whew, it's going to be a long day. It is going to be a long day. All right, let me go main slate. Make sure we got updated lineups. All right, we don't have confirmed lineups for the Orioles or the Red Sox yet. And I wrote Orioles twice. We got Rich Hill on the bump taking on Kyle Bradish. So I don't have any data in my spreadsheet on him. So let's do a couple of looks. First of all, we'll pull up his Fangraphs card. A 4K pitcher that I've never heard of. Makes me wonder if he's an opener or a spot start minor leaguer. Man, nothing's coming up. Kyle Bradish. All right, let's go check out the minors then. There we go. Bradish. It might be Bradish, but don't catch me lying. 25-year-old AAA affiliate. All right, cool. So far this season, 1.2 ERA. That's nice. 15 innings, 17 Ks. That's nice. Whip is really good. Is he stretched out starter? 6 innings, 5 innings, 4 innings? Most recent game went 6 innings, 8 strikeouts. Looks like he is a ground ball pitcher, over a 1.2 ground ball to air ball or air out ratio. So that's fun. How come I'm not getting anything on Fangraphs? I gotta make a playlist of the right royalty-free stuff. Kyle Brady. Oh, there it is, right there. All right, it's just minor. All right, so we'll see what kind of pitches he's working with. If they'll give us that. Fastball's great. Sliders good. Great. Curveball's great. Changeup, command, So, what is his walks looking like? Only 3 walks in 3 games. All right, so for the fastball to be weighted that high, I wonder how fast it is. Punches out 10th batter. That's from last year. I'm just gonna Google it. Kyle Bradish fastball. About 96. Let's see. Research, baby, research. Orioles promote right-hander Kyle Bradish to their most major league ready. Continue without disabling. Lit. Pitching prospect to start Friday against Boston. Blah blah. He was one of 4 right-handed pitching prospects Baltimore acquired in December 19th when it traded former first-round draft pick Dylan Bundy to the Angels. He's long been considered top arm in that quartet. Past 7 starts AAA, span that began last September. Bradish has allowed 4 earned runs in 35 innings. That's what you want. 41 strikeouts in those 35 innings. 9 walks, 1 homer. Nice. Okay. So I guess the next question is, how many pitches can he go? Among the Orioles pitching prospects, he trails only Grayson Rodriguez, and Rodriguez is a stud. All right, looks like he's a really above average minor league pitcher. With that said, sometimes these minor league pitchers don't transition 1-to-1 going into their first big league game, but Orioles Park has been more pitcher friendly than not. Since they made those adjustments, moving the left field wall back a little bit. And I'm not sure that they've even allowed a homer in that park yet. So at 4K on DraftKings, if you needed the money, and tonight you don't, or at least not if you're a Coors investor, maybe he's in the player pool as a punt SB2, and that'll give you your full onslaught, Judge, Trout, guys like that. So I guess I wouldn't talk anyone off of taking a shot on him at 4K, hoping for, at that point, 12 to 16 fantasy points and going from there. So that's our Kyle Bradish research. Rich Hill, we know what we get with Rich Hill. A lot of curveballs, right? Let's look at the pitch report. Actually, let's go look at this year's metrics on Rich Hill. What up, KJ? Let's go. I don't cash unless I watch a gun MLB stream. Just a chip in a chair for the best DFS content. Man, I appreciate that. What up, Josh? Today's your birthday? Happy birthday, Josh. Happy birthday. You're a real one. Baltimore's only giving a 1 homer in 1 game. Yeah. Yeah, Devers is a monster. I'd play Devers and Mars. So 4.7% swing strike rate on the season for Rich Hill. What's that ground ball do though? Jesus, 25%, 56% fly ball rate. Hard contact rate is the last 2 games really bad though. So the first game was solid. That might have been like a 40-degree Detroit game and it progressively went up. And against Tampa it was at 38.5%, which is still like league average, but it's flirting with danger as a major contact fly ball guy. xFIP is almost at 8. So that probably eliminate. Like I probably don't have any like inclination to play Rich Hill here, but if we're looking for some power, yeah, we could pick on him a little bit. Who we get after Santander, Trey Mancini, stuff like that. Implied run total for the Red Sox is 4.6, 4.1 on the Orioles. So in the grand scheme of a big Friday night, they're not giving us a whole lot to work with. Wait and see what the Red Sox lineup looks like. I know JD's been a little bit iffy. I don't see him in this projected lineup. I see Franchi Cordero in this projected lineup, though. And for 2K, bare bones min on DraftKings, that's a really intriguing price point for a guy like him with a little bit of power in the bottom of the lineup. And then, yeah, that's really all I got on. This game's just like super average pre-flop, so I probably don't prioritize anything in this game other than maybe some hitter one-offs, right? You need this on Spanish. Jose. I'm sorry, buddy. Maybe there's a CC option where you can habla español. I don't know. I'll throw a little bit, okay? Rich Hill. No. I don't know how you say fade in Spanish. No bueno. It's no bueno. Kyle Bradish. Maybe. Chica Miriana. You know what I mean? No stacking. I'm sorry, that sounds offensive of him. 32, you're 32, Josh. Don't come at me with that stuff. I'm older, bro. I'm older. Wait till you get 30 is the new. It really was the new 20. Like you're fine at 30. It was overblown from growing up in the 90s. The 40, I think 40 is the big one now. 30, dude, these athletes, half the athletes we talking about 30 years old today, man. Like it ain't nothing like it used to be. All right, let's move on to the next game. Astros at the Blue Jays. You say Kikuchi, I say Kakachi. This is what it is. Jose Urquidy on the bump for the Astros. We've got a 4.2 implied run total for the Astros, 4.5 for the Blue Jays. Another kind of mediocre run total, and that's been the story of baseball really throughout the first couple weeks of the season. A lot of dead ball discussion, a lot of weather discussion, a lot of pitching's better. There's discussion how pitchers are always caught up faster than hitters. Hitters got to calibrate. Whatever it is, I think a month ago you didn't expect many Astro Blue Jays games with Urquidy and Kikuchi to have a run total of 8.5, 8.5 to 9, wherever it is. So I do think both offenses have plenty of reason to get behind them. So far, Kikuchi came into the season with a 1.6 homer per 9 against righties, a 5.16 expected ERA overall, 1.3 WHIP. Dissect his numbers a little bit this season. Let's pull up his Fangraphs card. No. What up, Kenneth? How you doing, bro? Facts, though, bro. I feel my body's a little bit more broken down, but I'm gonna say I'm like 34. You stop counting. Trust me, you're not gonna worry about it anymore. 8% swing strike rate on the season for Kikuchi, not what you want. Batted ball data for him, 5.3 xFIP. Last game, 6.7 xFIP against these Astros. The hard contact's been low. That's good. The ground ball rate's been all over the road. And the home run to fly ball rate, 16.7% on 32% fly ball rate. So, I think it's okay. I don't think I'm pitching. I know I'm not pitching Kikuchi. And then Urquidy doesn't really give us any redeeming qualities for a big Friday night in terms of upside. All right. Overall K rate of 21% last year against righties under 20%. He's going to be seeing a lot of righties in this lineup. Guys like Springer, Bo Bichette, Vladdy Jr., all guys that can get into some of this action here. And Urquidy has had a real problem with surrendering power to righties over the course of the last 2 years, sustaining an over 2 home run per 9. So yeah, I don't see early on pitching's pretty porous. Other than that, maybe taking a shot on that Orioles kid. Let me see what his batted ball data says about versus righties so far. See if we can pick up where we left off. Against righties, he's allowed 3 homers already in 8 innings. So yeah, he's picking up where he left off. And let me just make sure batted ball data is. And I would imagine with the dead ball being what it is, it does. 34, actually, 34.5% hard contact rate is not bad. 31% pull rate, The fly ball rate is respectable, not good though. 47%. Line drive rate's elevated. Wonder what's getting him in trouble to have such a high home run rate. Is a certain pitch that's doing this? That maybe he's got a poor fastball, but you have to use the fastball. Let's see, fastball, it's the fastball. Fastball and cutter not been great to him, but the changeup has been pretty doggone solid. He's got a 792 expected slugging on the fastball, and 966 expected slugging on the cutter so far. The changeup and the slider have been a little bit more loyal to him, and the whiff rate on the cutter has been high. So that's kind of like a darned if you do, darned if you don't pitch. Looking back at last season, his expected power metrics for those pitches were a lot lower. So maybe it'll come down, but so far that fastball has not been good to him. And looking at his spin rate last year, averaged 2213 RPMs. Now he's down to 2199, so down about 200. The cutter is a new pitch for him. So I guess he's starting to work on that. I know Luis Severino also added a cutter, and sometimes cutter can hang up too. So yeah, we're going to be right there on a Blue Jay stack. I think we're going to go ahead and start the list off here. So Blue Jays, welcome to the list of stacks. And I'm fine with the Astro stack. I want to see what this lineup actually looks like. Sometimes I have questions about who's active, who's not. I don't know if we know for sure who's vaccinated, and there's laws. And maybe we get some surprises in this lineup tonight. We know how Jose Altuve's been down. If Chas McCormick leads off again, a lot of power in his bat. 232 ISO against lefties the last couple years. Bregman's always going to break the bomb detector against lefties. Jordan Alvarez can hit lefties just fine. So plenty of guys to get behind it. And the Blue Jays bullpen is all right though. So I don't want to go crazy with the Astros here, but I definitely like them. And I love the thought of the Blue Jays here. Braves are going to smash. Yeah, they just might. So Jose, Blue Jays is bueno. there's your SAP segment. Twins at the Rays, next game on the docket. We're starting to get a couple lineups start floating in here. So if lineups for games we've already talked about drop, I'll go back and update it, see if it changes our thoughts. But nothing on the Twins and Rays yet. Twins are throwing Dylan Bundy at Corey Kluber. We got a 3.9 run total for the Twins, 4.3 for the Rays. Both Bundy and Kluber have a couple of games under their belt so far. We'll start with Bundy. Bundy's been around lately, Baltimore, Los Angeles. I got him at season long, and I've been okay with the results so far. And then I'm starting to lower my thoughts on the Tampa Bay Rays. Bundy, 11.1% swing and strike rate on the season, getting ahead in counts pretty well too. 67% overall first pitch strike rate. The last game was his season low on swing and strike and first pitch strike, so maybe he'll bounce back from that. putting him indoors now. What's the batted ball data telling us on this? A 2.73 xFIP in that game. So even though his other metrics were down, the Sierra's really good. The xFIP's really good. So nothing really putting a lot of doubt into the results here for Bundy. Doesn't look like he's been especially lucky. Fastball's dipping below 90. Not what you want. We'll compare that to last year. I imagine maybe he lost an hour or a mile or two. Pitch report last year, 91. So maybe he's the type that needs to get stretched back up. A lot of his games have also been in the elements outside. Maybe this is a good spot to ramp that back up. Slider usage at 30%, about 80 miles an hour, and the curveball change up a little bit. And looking at last year, slider 20%, little curveball, little change up here. So he's been pretty doggone solid. Doesn't really give us much that I want to go out there and pick on. However, much like Urquidy, with a little bit more strikeouts, he has shown a propensity to give up bombs to righties. This Rays lineup right now is projecting more lefty or more switchy than righties, with the righties being guys like Yandy Diaz or Rosarena, Margot. Rosarena has been showing a lot of speed so far this season. I think he leads the league in infield hits, so maybe he's somebody we put in our back pocket. The power hasn't quite been there, but I wouldn't talk you off of getting to him. I don't know that I would be overly excited to stack either team. I do want to look at his righty splits so far this season to see if any of those underlying metrics that would support home runs, the fly balls, the hard contacts, the pull rates, is still there. The fly ball rate so far to righties, 43.5%. The hard contact is 13%. That's incredible. The pull rate's pretty high, so maybe that'll catch up to the hard contact rate. But so far, so good. But he's been about a coin flip between a ground ball and fly ball to righties. So we'll see if that holds up. Nonetheless, I think I would more so cherry pick some of these Rays righties than anything. And then when it comes to Corey Kluber, pulling up his metrics so far this season, he's coming into the Rays system from the Yankees system last year. Debuted a new pitch. They called it the Kluber ball. It's not a slider. It's not a slurve. It's not a curve. It's a pitch that only he throws. So we started calling it the Kluber ball. 11.2% swing strike rate so far this season. His opening day game, or his opening game of the season, was his highest swinging strike rate. And looking at the strength of difficulty, knowing that it's the Baltimore Orioles now in retrospect, makes sense. It's come down a little bit more to a normal the last couple games, and the 54% first pitch strike rate, you like to see that to be a little bit higher, but it could be worse. A 4.0 xFIP so far, 4.1 Sierra, and then we want to look at his splits against righties as well, because coming into the season last year, did give up an elevated average to righties, a 1.43 home run per 9 to righties, and I want to see if some of those qualities, for lack of a better term, still exist in his batted ball data. 28% hard contact rate. The pull rate's over 50%, so that's advantage hitter. The fly ball rate, the line drive rate, not what you want. So looks like all that could still be there, and then the results give us one homer so far in 8 innings to righties. Also allowed one to lefty. So twin stack is intriguing, and this is a stack we've seen pop off in a few occasions, and this is while it's a maybe statistically a park downgrade in Tropicana. Gotta remember, a lot of these Twins games have been in like 40-degree, ugly, rainy weather. So like the physical environment might be down, but this might be a spot where the race where Tropicana is one of the better spots for them in terms of not coming to the plate with a gator on. The humidor is supposed to like neutralize everywhere, and then places that are closer to sea level, it's supposed to normalize the baseball a little bit more, so that the offense kind of plays out a little bit more neutral. So this actually may not be that big of a downgrade for the Twins. So I'll have some Twin stacks here. Twins have just a 3.9 run total, so maybe we get them at a decent ownership, and 6.1K for Byron Buxton in Tropicana. There might be some on that, but man, Buxton's been so good, a 19.2% barrel rate when he makes contact last season or so. That's really, really, really what you want. Behind him, a couple of names that can really formulate a really decent stack. And even Ryan Jeffers, I get to watch a lot of Twins games because of my girl being a Twins fan, and Jeffers has been swinging a rather hot stick lately, better than Gary Sanchez. A double and a homer 2 games back, another double and a homer 2 games prior to that, a double. So he's got a little bit of power as a bottom of the order catcher if you want to throw that in your stacks and maybe fill it out here. We've certainly seen the Rays fall victim to some stackage going off. We're also seeing the Twins bullpen maybe being susceptible to offense too. So far this season they've had an elevated walk rate and home run rate to opposing teams here. So if you think that you can get low ownership on either team here, and I think you might, Tropicana on a Coors Friday night 13-game slate, maybe both teams are in play. But I also think you could justify both pitchers. I'd probably not feel that great about 9.2K Corey Kluber in my life, but 8.3K on Dylan Bundy, sure. Neither one of those guys are going to be tier 1s, tier 2s, or anything like that. But if you're trying to fill out 100, 150 lineups, I certainly wouldn't talk you off that ledge. You know what I mean? Only understand a little bit. Un poquito. Okay. Twins Rays, So I did some test betting with MLB, took all unders on anyone over 6.5 hitter fantasy score and went surprisingly well. Yeah, that's baseball, Eric. Baseball, obviously you're more likely to make it out than to make a hit. So that doesn't surprise me. What up, Suave? Kluber's righty splits are real again this year. Buxton, Correa looking good. Yeah, Buxton's getting us a 4+ rating on the bomb detector. He's the only one in this game with a 4+ rating on the bomb detector, but like I said, I wouldn't talk anyone off the ledge off for some power from like Brandon Lau or something like that. Maybe G-Man Choi. But for the most part, if I had to choose between two, I'm a little bit more on the Twins side, but I wouldn't talk off either. We're also getting some decent base running grades from the Twins since the beginning of last year. So, stretch those singles into doubles. Stretch those, corners on singles into RBI singles, stuff like that. Phillies at the Mets. Next game on the docket, Aaron Nola taking on Tyler Megill. This game is in Citi Field. Looks like wind blowing in a little bit. 3.4 implied run total for the Phillies. 3.7 for the Mets. So no offense expected here, or at least implied here. Nola on the bump last year and really this year. Nola's been Jekyll and Hyde, right? When he's good, he is really, really good. And sometimes these bad games will happen, whether it be on him or his questionable defense at times. But his stuff, man, when his stuff is on, he's got really, really elite stuff. So let's look at his metrics so far through a couple games this season. 11% swing and strike rate. There is a core start here. There is a start against the Mets. There's 2 games where he exceeded a 13% swing and strike rate. And what you really like to see is in 3 of these 4 games, he had a 77% or better first pitch strike. So he ain't playing around. He ain't wasting pitches. That's what you want. A 2.92 xFIP overall. And he's sustained a pretty solid xFIP in every game except the Mets game. And same goes for the Sierra. So more of the same for Aaron Nola here. I think at 8,500, I'd take some shares of that. If you give me 16 to 20 plus fantasy points as a range of outcome, I wouldn't disagree with it. I do got to put a little bit of respect on the Mets here. I think they're leading the league in wins. They do have some hard to strike out names in their lineup, and they do have some names that will punish you if you leave up a pitch or if you let a base runner on. Like guys like Starling Marte, Francisco Lindor, they get on, they can start trying to steal bags and stuff like that, put the pressure on, manufacture runs. So not a comfortable matchup, but with the wind blowing in, with the temps being low, certainly not an environment that should breed too much offense. But I that's going to come down to a comfort click. But I think 8,500 on DK is really, really soft price for Nola's ceiling, because if he dropped 25, 30 fantasy points, no one's really stunned. You saw 32 against Milwaukee, 7 innings. That's a good sign. I haven't seen him eclipse 90 pitches yet, but going 84, 89, it kind of suggests that he could if he needed to. I wouldn't expect more than 6 innings of him on an average day, though. Megill on the bump here for the Mets. Last year, he did struggle with lefties, a 4.7 xFIP to lefties, but was really, really, really elite against righties. And right now, this Phillies lineup projects to be really righty heavy. So at 9,800, you're going to have to go up there and get him. But the strikeout propensity is there. We doubled down on his metrics metrics so far this season. I think he's been a real revelation for the Mets, and it doesn't hurt to share a dugout with Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom and try to pick a few things up. A 13.3% swing and strike rate so far this season, has been double-digit swing and strike rates in every game so far. Only one home game. That was against the Giants team. These other games are against mediocre matchups, but there is a matchup against the Phillies. So a little bit of familiarity here, and that goes both ways. 2.64 xFIP for him on the season, 2.81 Sierra on the season. And then if we look at his batted ball splits, really what we want to see is he still got a bugaboo against lefties, right? Remember last year against lefties was a problem. Well, so far through a couple starts this season against lefties, a 218 average, 327 slugging, and only one bomb in 14 innings. He's actually faced more lefties than righties, so kind of something to keep an eye on. And then I'd also want to see what that hard contact to lefties is looking like. 24%, so that's good. Pull rates, The ground ball rate's higher than the fly ball rate, so that's a great sign. Last year, the ground ball rate was lower than the fly ball rate. So are we switching up pitch types? So let's go look at his pitch usage. Fastball, slider, little cutter, not much. Curveball, a little bit, not much. Changeup. So fastball, slider, changeup. Primary pitches. Looking at what we have on record last year for Megill, fastball, slider, changeup. So pretty similar. Let's go look at the nerdy metrics, right? Baseball Savant. Sometimes when pitchers don't change much in terms of usage or velo or anything like that, do wonder if you do wonder why the results are the results. If the surface numbers look similar. So sometimes I like to see if they've added spin rate or added movement to their pitches or anything like that. Expected slugging 500 on the changeup with a 25% whiff rate. That's probably a little low for a tertiary pitch. 47% on the slider whiff rate, that is. Yeah, so far so good. Last year the curveball was getting him in trouble. I didn't use it that much though, and it looks like the case here today. So I would say, I think matchup wise, 9.8K might keep some buyers away from him. But if this Phillies lineup comes out with mostly righties, I think you can make a case here. Odubel's hit a couple bombs lately. Didi's Didi, but Weather's advantage pitcher, and if we're just focusing on splits here, the splits definitely suggest that he might be worth a few extra strikeouts. He has 11 strikeouts, 8.2 innings against righties so far. Hasn't been striking out lefties in the same clip though. .3 xFIP to lefties. So the xFIP to lefties is still higher than righties, like it was last year, but it's better than it was. Right, last year was at 4.69. So we'll see if that trend sustains. 250 BABIP could be worse, could be better. I think I would get to a little bit of Megill, a little bit. Aaron Nola as well, a little too cheap. Best person to enjoy listening right here. Man, I appreciate that. Give a toss. Got a bunch of emails to catch up on. All right. White Sox hosting the Angels. Noah Syndergaard. Thor taking on Lucas Giolito. I don't have a lineup for either. Another sub-4 run total for both teams, man. Offense is just ripped apart in the league right now. Thor's on the bump. This is going to be, his fourth start or so? Something like that. His fourth start. 88, 82, 76 pitches. The Angels pitching rotation is picking up a lot of hype right now because of their start so far this regular season. I do think Thor, and I said it on his last start, I do think his pitching is fine. I thought the strikeouts would come back, 4 and 1 strikeout in his first couple games, but his swing and strike stuff was there. So I did call for positive regression for strikeouts. I had him over 5.5 Ks against Baltimore. He got there. but he still has a problem with holding base runners, and that is playing with fire. If we get a White Sox lineup, leading off with Tim Anderson, somebody like that, would love to see Luis Robert in this lineup, but I think he's hurt. Looking at Thor's game log so far, 13% swing and strike rate to overall. Last game wasn't getting ahead in counts, so 37.5% first pitch strike rate, so keep an eye on that. And I do think some of that was he was playing with runners on, and it still doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense when he was in his Mets heyday. This man is, have you ever seen John Lester when he couldn't hold runners? This man cannot hold base runners. If you get on versus Noah Syndergaard, you can run. He just cannot hold base runners. And that's a scary thought against the top of this White Sox lineup. I don't know how many stolen bases he's allowed so far, but I imagine it's got to be up there per game. It's bad. It's bad. So I like Thor if he can keep traffic off the bases. But if he can't, I do think that the White Sox will be pretty aggressive offensively, depending on how this lineup comes out. Guys like Pollock, if he gets on, we know he can go. We know Tim Anderson will run a carousel. Like I said, what's the story on Robert? Is he hurt, or is he on paternity leave, something like that? Day to day. Tony La Russa is hopeful that Robert will return to the lineup Friday against the Angels. If this lineup has Luis Robert and Tim Anderson, I'm stacking the White Sox and hoping for home run points out of my hitters. Yeah, Robert's one of the fastest players in the league, and yeah, he's got stolen base potential. So that's something we're going to keep an eye on. Wind blowing in here, 60 degrees out there in Chicago. I'm going to asterisk White Sox as a potential stack. And then we'll see what happens. Giolito on the bump for the White Sox. Last year, Giolito was pristine, sub 4 Sierra, sub 3.5 expected ERA over the course of the last 3 seasons. Looking at his metrics so far this season. Also, I need to go look at the Angels bullpen usage, because I think Raisel Iglesias pitched last night. And I want to see if he's been used up a lot lately. He's pitched 4 of his last 5 games, so he's easily their best bullpen guy. Aaron Loop is solid as well. So basically what I'm getting at is if Thor gets in a problem, I wonder if they even, if they have the ability or have scheduled to use some of these pitchers that are your high leverage guys. So I'm really selling myself on White Sox, and that's probably a problem. But yeah, if Luis Robert's in the top of that lineup, bro, I'm in it. I'm in it. All right, what are we doing? Looking at Giolito. 21% swinging strike rate through 2 games. That's good. That's really good. Batted ball data for him. 2.3 xFIP, 2.42 Sierra. That's what you want. So kind of an unstoppable force, immovable object situation. We'll see if Ohtani is in the lineup. I assume so. I think he was off yesterday, but don't quote me. And this is a great pitcher versus a hot team. Angels traveling from LA to Chicago. Maybe a little fatigue on the airplane here, but Giolito has great stuff. So if you think Giolito, gets the best of the Angels here, the Angels do possess some high strikeout rates. Since the beginning of last year against righties, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the guys in their projected lineup have a strikeout rate of 26% or worse, or better, depending on how you want to look at it. So there is strikeouts to be had here for Lucas Giolito. So I do think this is one of those risk-reward spots where you could justify it. The pushback, if we really wanted to be pessimistic, is he only got up to 76 pitchers against the Twins, and that was a really solid game. Did have a little bit of a walk issue in both of those games. So if he's limited to 85 or less pitches on a big slate, how often is he optimal? well, what is optimal? What is value? I always say value is subjective, and I would probably say if I roster Giolito on DraftKings at 9,500, I'm hoping for around 25 fantasy points and, you know, leaving some meat on the bone for a little bit of a ceiling. So if you think you can get that, yeah, probably fire him up. I understand being cautious about it, so I wouldn't. I'm not going to tier 1 him. Maybe I don't even tier 2 him, but he will be in my pitching player pool, and maybe we play both sides of the fence here. I don't think that's a crazy thought either. With Syndergaard at 8K, I'm looking for 16 to 18 fantasy points. There's not really a ton of strikeouts in this White Sox lineup, like 1 in 5 K rates, bunch of 20% or stuff like that. So I'm kind of more leaning towards getting behind some of these White Sox bats and hoping that, you know, Thor has a problem keeping guys on, and you know, he's more worried about Tim Anderson on first base than throwing a proper pitch to, you know, whoever's at the, you know what I mean? So I probably am going to talk myself to be more onto the White Sox than the Thor side, but I think it makes sense to like Syndergaard in this spot. But I just think White Sox could have a lot of upside if their lineup looks a little bit more normal. All right, I got to start typing a couple games in here. That's about as far as I got on typing. So let's pop open the next game, which is going to be Braves against Garrett Richards. Projected lineup: Ozzie Albies, Matt Olson, Austin, Ozuna, Travis d'Arnaud, Adam Duval County, Travis Demerit. Hold me closer, Johnny Dansby. Orlando Arcia. And Ian Mr. Anderson. All right, Rangers lineup: Cole Calhoun, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Mitch Garver. Finally got into one the other day. That's what you want. Nate Lowe, Adolis Garcia, Willie Calhoun, Brad Miller, and Andy. I took a pill in the bundes. Garrett Richards on the bump. All right, cool. We'll see if the roof's open here. But they have been playing with the roofs in some of these spots. Humidors and dead baseballs plus cold weather's killing offense. So, Jesse, I'm definitely not the guy to explain humidors, but humidors are not supposed to. If you just look at all the parks, humidors from people that are smarter than me suggest that they'll should have a more net positive effect. It's not like humidors. We think about humidors being used to stabilize and neutralize the Coors Field in Arizona, you know, dry air, elevated air, stuff like that. But it's supposed to have an inverse effect closer to sea level or some of these, you know, pitcher-friendly parks. So I would say asterisk next to humidors, because humidors aren't necessarily a bad thing pre-flop. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. But read some articles. I definitely am not the guy to explain it. 8 stolen bases allowed for Jesus H. That's got to be, if not the most, that's up there. Definitely got to be most per game. Giolito 6.5 Ks on PrizePicks. His pitch count worries me. I'll say this: if I get him to, what are we thinking, 80 pitches as a conservative guess? At 80 pitches, I'm getting 6.9, so I'm barely the over on that. If as we get to like 90 and 100 pitches, based on what that lineup is, I would feel better. But I will say his lack of 95, you know, his lack of pitch count so far is a little bit worrisome. So I would probably just not bet that for me, but I don't know. Anyway, Braves and the Rangers. Ian Anderson taking on Garrett Richards. Keep an eye on the status of the roof. It is warm in Texas, over 80 degrees up there. So if they pop the lid on Globe Life, and they have been, it would be a little bit of a boost there for hitters. Braves offense, certainly one to keep an eye on. They have one of the higher run totals so far on this slate, about a 5 run total, and the Rangers are at 4.4. So let's dig into both starting pitchers and their work so far this season. Garrett Richards, he's been around. I think the last I remember it was like Boston or something, right? Game logs for Richard so far. 10% swing and strike rate. Has he been out the pen? That's a lot of appearances. There's no way he's a starter. Projected opener. Okay, that makes sense. 2 innings. So he last pitched on the 27th 2 days ago. So probably wouldn't expect more than 1 or 2 innings for him. As sometimes these projected openers, you can get strikeout rates or strikeout lines at 3.5. Do they by chance have one for Garrett Richards? Richards. No, they do not. All right, cool. What about underdog? Let me sign in. 1 second, chat. 1 second. I thought that was the Moan song. It was not. We'll definitely have to read up on it then. Yeah, I mean, but I will say, Jesse, the dead ball is real though, 100%. And obviously it's been cold. But the humidor, I think the jury's still out on the humidor being a net negative. All right, let's see. What was I looking at? Oh, Garrett Richards, just to see if they had one. They don't. All right, cool. Boom. So I don't want to exhaust too much research on Garrett Richards. He's only been there for 6-7 batters, so I think we're just looking at the quality of bullpen here, and I think that's probably the well, I don't know. Do they have a long reliever? McCreasy, you're in chat, right? What's Texas doing today? Texas. Sam Howard? Spencer Howard. He's with the Phillies. Okay. He sucks, if I remember correctly, and I do. I think we're stacking Braves blind, knowing that it's probably just quality 9 at-bats or 9 innings against below average pitching. So Howard and Richards, and then let's go look at the bullpen ratings so far. Actually, I do have it in the spreadsheet right now. They've allowed a lot more homers than average and a lot more walks than average. So team stats, pitching, relievers. I just want to look at actual numbers here. The per nines are fun, but I'm curious. Standards. Stack Brave. Yeah, I think I'm doing a lot to end up with the obvious conclusion, which is we're stacking Braves, boys. Rangers bullpen has allowed the most homers in the league. The Angels have been second, so there's been a lot made of this Angels pitching staff, but it's more the starters than the bullpen. So, like I said, if Thor gets in a Jimmy Jam, that bullpen can get got, and they used their good guys in the last couple days. So I don't know, man. I really selling myself on the White Sox. Please, Luis Robert, play today. Twins are back there as well. Rays are back there as well. Now, I don't know if this is going to count the Brett Phillips crap. Maybe it does. But, yeah, I think any which way we slice it, the Braves stack looks like a really good stack. So, let's add Braves. And then let's also add White Sox because I just had that feeling in my bad knee with the storm brewing. All right, let's go look at Ian Anderson. What can we expect from him tonight versus what we have on file? What we have on file has been a xFIP over 4 to lefties last year, 3.9 to righties, 128 innings, overall sample size, 4.3 expected ERA. So not great, but not terribly horrendous, right? Little room for improvement. A 9.5% barrel rate, not what you want. The ground ball rate is elevated. So I could see a couple of range of outcomes here. And the Rangers bats have kind of been a mixed bag of nuts results-wise. And, going against a heavy ground ball pitcher, I am a little bit trepidatious, if you will. So plate discipline on him. 15% swing and strike rate. That's really good. And then what's the batted ball telling us? 46% ground ball rate so far this season. 4.43 xFIP, so he's pitching a little bit above his head, possibly. Sierra's at 4.84. Pull rate's at 58%, and the hard contact rate is 15%. A little unsustainable, but it's a short sample size. 2 homers to lefties so far. And that is consistent with the info we had last year. Last year, I won 6 homer per 9. So, I wouldn't talk you off of Rangers. I'll probably get to some Rangers here. Corey Seager looks fine. Calhoun, if he's leading off, right? That's your chip. That's your Jock Peterson play. You're hoping for a hot stick there. Has he been getting subbed out when he's starting, like Jock Peterson? Let's see, 4 at bats, 5 at bats, 3 at bats. 2 at bats. I guess that's a maybe. Maybe if they put in a lefty in the bullpen. I don't know that they used to have a problem with lefties in the bullpen. Let's see if that's still a thing for them. Braves. They got AJ Minter, who's probably not available today. He pitched the last 2 days. Will Smith pitched yesterday. So I would assume that that they don't see many lefties. Tyler Matzik pitched 2 of the last 3 days. There's probably a good chance that they see a righty, maybe a Thornburg or something like that. So maybe he's safe. Robert batting in the 5 hole. Let's go. Bauer suspended 2 years. I mean, I don't like the guy, but that's crazy. Not crazy, but you know what I mean. Like I got nothing for Trevor Bauer. He's a scumbag to me. But what did he legally? You know what I'm saying? If the legal system didn't decide that he was in the wrong, then what is the issue? I don't know. I guess it would just be conduct stuff. But man, we're seeing guys beat their girls all the time and take half a season off. I think that league doesn't like him, and I don't like him, so it is whatever. But in the interest of fairness, I wonder what the judgment is. Like, how is it? Like, if the legal system says nothing, and you got this guy on administrative leave to really kind of see what the legal system says, and the answer is nothing, then what are you know what I mean? Like, what's the? I don't know. But I got nothing for him, so I'm not gonna argue too much for his case. But it does seem a little bit weird. Let's go to the Yankees game on the road here, so we don't get that 7:05 start time, which is good. I can relax a little bit, maybe get dinner ready. Mr. Cortez. Royals against the lefty. We do have that Royals lineup. Nicky Lopez, Whit Merrifield, Andrew Benintendi, Salvador Perez, Carlos Santana, Hunter Dozier. I'm kind of surprised they lead off with a lefty here, right? Like, why wouldn't they just lead off with Merrifield, get a platoon advantage on your first pitch? That seems a little weird. It's not like Lopez is a lefty specialist. That's our confirmed lineup. It's weird. What up, AOD? Hello, Mia Moore. So the Yankees, Aaron Hicks is on paternity leave. Glaber had the day off yesterday. The corresponding move for Aaron Hicks was to call up Megill and Nola, who had been raking in the minors. And the Yankees stayed with essentially the same lineup for the last couple days. Gallo, Judge, Stanton, Donaldson. So I do think there's a good chance one of those guys gets the day off. Who's it going to be? I don't know. But I would assume, since I want to say Donaldson has had a DH spot lately. So they may, and I know they DH Stanton because they didn't want to play in the field 3 days in a row. So I would say there's a good chance that we see a weird lineup. And maybe, just maybe, you see like a Megill and Nola in the mix. And I know Andahar, they tested him in left field last year, essentially a third baseman, but he would probably be the worst defensive third baseman on the team. So I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. So we'll see when that lineup comes out. But I would expect maybe one of the household names that we love to play maybe out. My guess is also we've seen Gallo not start against lefties twice this season. Rizzo can hit lefties. So maybe they rest Gallo, put Megill and Nola in left field, Judge in center, and I guess Stanton in right if Stanton had DH spot yesterday. All right, enough Yankee fandom, thinking out loud. Chris Bubich sucks. We're stacking against Chris Bubich. Yankees offense have come to play the last couple games. We've seen double-digit runs from them a few times. That's it. We're stacking Yankees. The Royals against Nestor Cortez. Cortez, he's a curious case, right? His advanced metrics say he's not this good, and he's not. But what he does is funkify stuff, if that makes any sense, right? He'll change his arm slot, change his timing between pitches. He'll quick pitch you. He'll crane kick you, right? Johnny Cueto stuff. So it's keeping hitters confused, and it's been really, really good to watch, or fun to watch the last couple years. And the swing and strike rate, right? You think about these big K games for him, only 11%. So it's not like super elite, but he's getting by because of the funky stuff. The xFIP and Sierra have been elite this year. Mowed down Cleveland, mowed down Baltimore, held his own against Toronto. So I'm gonna be fine with getting to some Cortez. I do think he is overpriced. I think he's had some really good games against bad teams. I will say I do think the Royals maybe put out a weird lineup. Like, it's definitely not the lineup I don't understand leading off with Nicky Lopez against a lefty. That just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I would construct this lineup way different. If it was me, I'm leading off with Merrifield. I'm having Salvi in the 3 spot. Santana's going to be up there. If you want Benintendi, cool, that's fine. But this seems like a really poorly constructed Royals lineup. So I'm going to have Cortez in the pool, but I make no mistake about it. I don't think he's a 10K pitcher. But I like him. Like, if he's 8-9K, I'd be playing him a little bit more so in the 8K range. But yeah, we're stacking Yankees. We're not touching Bubic. A little bit of Cortez on DraftKings. And that's all I got to say about that. No Robert. Just by you saying that and playing Nicky Lopez. I mean, maybe, but like what? Like, why? Like, what is the redeeming quality on Nicky Lopez other than he's fast? Like, he should be in the 2 spot. Merrifield gets on, maybe he flirts with a bunt, Merrifield can steal one, something like that. I just don't get it. But what do I know? All right, you want to get some lineups caught up? Let's keep going forward. Then we'll go back and catch some more lineups on. All right, let's go Cubs and Milwaukee. A10. Cubs, Adrian Hauser on the bump from Milwaukee. We're looking at projected lineup: Rafael Ortega, Seiya Suzuki, Ian Happ. Ian Happ's been kind of crushing it, right? Wilson Contreras. You guys see, was it yesterday? Wilson Contreras and William Contreras both delivered the lineup cards in that game. Why do I feel like I've never successfully typed Frank Schwindel, there we go, on the first try. And there was a pretty amazing post-game clip from William Contreras. Kind of brought a little tear to my eye, where he talked about how him and his brother never fought as kids, and it was just a special moment because they dreamed of being in the majors and stuff like that. Anyway, it was a fun little moment. Go check it out. Baseball's beautiful. It's a love story. Brewers against a righty, Colton Wong, Willie Adames on the heater. See if that keeps up. Christian Yelich, Andrew McCutchen. Again, this is a projected lineup. Don't have the confirmed lineup yet. Omar Narvaez. Omar. Speaking of Omar, isn't it okay? I don't know. This is weird, right? Anybody watch the Ozark? Doesn't that come out tonight? Am I tripping? And isn't like the cartel leader named Nomar? Maybe it's Omar. Maybe I'm tripping. But that's like my reminder that I think next season of Ozark. Is it today? It's tonight. I know what I'm doing tonight. All right, cool. I like that show. Kyle Hendricks pitching against Adrian Hauser. Hendricks soft toss and righty. Hauser really doesn't give us much strikeout hope last couple games or last couple seasons. So we can look at underlying metrics to see if there's anything different. I think that cartel guy I was thinking about, I think I saw on Twitter he was at a Nats game and some weirdo behind him was taking a picture of him. That's what I can't stand, man. Like these people they bleed red, man. Leave them alone. They just trying to watch a baseball game. 12% swinging strike rate so far this season for Kyle Hendricks. A lot of that is from game number 1 where he went nuts against this Brewers team. We've seen sub 8%, sub 6% in 2 of the last 3 games, both against the Pirates and then the Rays game at 14%. So all over the place. I think in that case, I'm more so banking on a historical sample size than anything. Sierra's at 4, xFIP's at 3.85. Ground ball rates up there. line drive rate is not what you want. The pull rate's up there, and the hard contact rate has been all over the road as well. So it looks like you don't actually know what you're going to get out of Hendricks. But the pitch usage has been pretty similar. Didn't really go to that curveball much last game. A lot of changeup, a lot of fastball, and I use the term fastball loosely. His fastball, this is slower than a lot of guys' changeups, right? 87 mile an hour. Oof, and his changeup's at 80. So for him to be inducing that high of a swing and strike rate, there's a lot of revved up bats that are probably a little early, right? So I don't think my process is going to lead me to pitching Hendricks. I will say, historically, Hendricks can be a stack spoiler because of his ground ball rate, and he just eats some innings and move on. Neither team implied for an exponential amount of runs, especially the Cubs. They have just a 3.5 run total. Hauser, kind of the same song and dance. His ground ball rate's so high that kind of sucks out the DFS upside, because there's we're looking for strikeouts. And he's not a strikeout guy. So this might be one of those lukewarm spots where I fade the game and hope it's the most average game that ever did average. 8-5 ground ball ratios last 2 games. Strikeouts and the walks, not what you want. Maybe we look at for some low-hanging numbers on Hauser. Hauser has a 3.5 K prop. Oof. It is the Cubs, right? And then Hendricks. Is Hendricks at 5.5? 4. I don't... Darn you smart props. Ozark, can't wait. Let's go, baby. Lewis is in the lineup? Okay, cool. Hendricks on the road isn't prime Hendricks. I mean, Hendricks anywhere isn't prime Hendricks, right? Seattle and Miami have a great umpire for runs. I am cautious with umpire split, especially for runs. Like I get it. Watch it. Obviously, there's umpires that have horrendous strike zones or favorable strike zones for pitchers and hitters. But I don't go crazy with those numbers. I just kind of like trust the matchup. Not to say that you're out of line or anything like that, but I haven't really heard of it like great for runs. You know what I mean? You still got to hit the ball. I get it great for strikeouts or more hitter friendly because they're going to mess the pitcher around. Cam Carrington, I appreciate that sub. Welcome to the channel. Will this be the first time tonight in MLB where you had Tyler A versus Tyler A? Probably not. Maybe. Probably not. Just like Tyler A, Tyler Anderson, Tyler Alexander. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I would say probably not. It's really rare to have self first in MLB. I will say the kid, I think it was Zimmerman against the Yankees yesterday, he had what they call a unicorn, or the first time ever stat box score against the Yankees, where it was just like a bunch of unearned runs and all that stuff. And Baseball Reference said that was the first time in any of their recorded box scores that anyone had that. So unicorn, it's like scoregami on NFL, right? So I would say if you want to cherry pick either team, cool. I'm not touching either pitcher. It is what it is. Hauser did have a power problem, the lefties 2 years ago, but the advanced metrics weren't really anything that's indicative of a power problem, meaning the hard contact rate was low, the ground ball rate was high. Maybe the line drive rate's a little bit higher than what you want, but for the most part, I'd probably just be cherry picking bats there and not really going crazy. I like Miami tonight. All right, Swab. All right, let's get this D-backs game in the spreadsheet. Where are we at on time? We're doing all right. 8:15 p.m. Diamondbacks. I can't type right now. Diamondbacks versus Adam Wainwright. Dalton Varsho. Pavin Smith. David Peralta. Seth B. Cooper Hummel. Ketel Marte. I dropped Ketel Marte season long the other day. Expect him to go off just because I did that. Perdomo, Jose Herrera, Madison Bumgarner. Once dated a girl named Madison Bumgarner. True story, no relation. Ever heard that story? That's a real thing, by the way. I swear Vin Scully would tell that story every time. Every time. Apparently, he had a girl named Madison Bumgarner. Imagine that. No matter what your name is out there, imagine you dated a girl that had your exact name. Be opening each other's mail like crazy. Adam Wainwright on the bump for the Cardinals. Madison Bumgarner on the bump for the D-backs. Mad Bum, the bane of my existence. Cardinals against lefties, the bane of my existence. I'm always on both sides. I'm always stacking against Madison Bumgarner. I'm always stacking freaking Cardinals against lefties, and it never works. So now we put them together. I could just see myself in my PayPal account just losing money as I think about it. 7.8% swing and strike rate this season for Madison Bumgarner. Overall, the first pitch strike rate is down. We kind of talked about this in the Discord earlier. The walks have been up for him. The xFIP is still pretty high, 4.69 xFIP. Had 2 solid games in his last 2 outings. The Mets, he was really good in that game. Sierra was great. Against Washington, he had a whole bunch of walks, and he still had decent metrics. The first 2 games were really bad. So on short sample, I don't know what to believe, what not to believe on Mad Bum. So I'm just gonna kind of trust that against a Cardinals lineup that is juiced and has some power. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and pick on Mad Bum, hope for the best. The pull rate on Mad Bum, 44% overall. The hard contact rate is 31%. We'll give him that. Outside of that Astros game, 30% hard contact from Madison Bumgarner is amongst his best in a long time overall. But let's split that. Let's go look at the batted ball data versus righties. And see what that's telling us. Batted ball data against righties, 32%. So by hook or by crook, his hard contact rate has declined. And that's a good sign. Bad sign if we want to keep picking on him for power. But the pull rate's still up there. And it is, at the end of the day, a small sample size. Fly ball rate's still up there. So let's go look at his baseball savant here. And then I also want to look at maybe his pitch usage and see if there's anything different this year versus last year. Sometimes these older pitchers, they start accepting that, hey, I'm not a fastball guy. Let me start throwing cutters or something like that. Pitch type, 28% on the fastball, 51% on the slider, 15% on the curveball, changeup as well. So a lot of sliders in Mad Bum's life. That's intriguing. Last year, Mad Bum had a 34% slider usage. Curveball was up, the fastball was up, and he's gone down on the fastball, and he's gone way down on the curveball. Maybe way down is a stretch, but about 6%. So something to keep an eye on. So let's focus on that slider then. Madison Bumgarner. Slider. So he does have a cutter and a fastball too, which I think Graphs is kind of lumping them together as a fastball. Both pitches are not the same. The cutter has a expected slugging over 400, the fastball under 200. Neither one of those are like alarming or anything, but the curveball is a problem. Curveball, a 1 expected slugging, not what you want. And they don't have slider listed, so maybe they're grading his slider as a cutter. Fangraphs, that is. And Savant has something completely different. Something to keep an eye on then. I think that's got to be the issue. I think they're grading it as a slider. So I'm going to have to do some digging on that. Let me make a note. Madison Bumgarner slider versus cutter. Fangraphs versus Savant. Boom, boom, boom. I feel like I trust Savant here over Fangraphs, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on. Whiff rate, there's nothing special on any of those pitches. So with that said, let's look at this Cardinals lineup. A lot of power against lefties. Tommy Edman, Paul Goldschmidt, Tyler O'Neill, Nolan Arenado, Albert Pujols even. You know, as much as we meme him, he's sustained a 200 plus ISO against lefties the last couple years. So I will be stacking Cardinals today, and I will be rage tweeting it on Twitter. So there's that. And then Adam Wainwright on the bump for the Cardinals. Last year, get me over, eat some innings type of guy. Is that the case today? Maybe. D-backs have been amongst the highest teams in the league in strikeouts at last glance. So far this season, a 26.5% K rate, no power, 81 WRC plus against righties, a 5.7% swing strike rate on Wainwright, a 3.1 xFIP, a 3.34 Sierra overall. The last game is really when he ran into a little bit of trouble out there in Great American Ballpark. So I think I'd be inclined to just kind of fade both sides here. And let me go look at teams. What up, Neville? What up, Emerson's? First time trying to MLB slate yesterday. I finished 4th in the golf tournament. Also first time. Hey, man, beginner's luck. Have an e-check payment in process. That's weird. What was I doing? I was looking at strikeout rates for the league against righties. I will say, so if you are brand new to baseball, be careful with some of the content out there. I don't want to give away too many details, but a company approached me for an endorsement. So I went and checked them out, and they had some content out there. And like the other day, they touted Michael Pineda to hit 5 strikeouts because the Twins were top 5 in K rate or something like that. And I was just like, holy bad process, Batman. I was like, that's bad. I mean, you know what I mean? And Pineda had like 1 strikeout. He had like a 3% swinging strike rate, something dumb like that. So if you're out there, I would say stick to the big boys for content. I'll throw me in there, but make sure you're checking out not fly-by-night guys that are referencing results-based data like ERA, stuff like that. K per 9 is even kind of outdated. And look for people that are, if they're saying stuff and you don't understand, it's probably a good thing. All right, if you're new to baseball. Anyway, this season against righties, Arizona's been second in strikeout rate. They have very little power, 138 ISO, and a WRC plus at 81. So I think this is kind of a wash spot. 9,400 feels a little bit pricey for Wainwright. And if I played it, I'd be looking for, mid-20 fantasy points. Is it outside the realm of possibility? No. So, like, if you want to fill out 150 lineups, something like that. But I think that's such a neutral enough spot where I don't have vested interest in the D-backs. And, Wainwright is expendable. If he was 8,500, I'd be a little bit more open at an SP2 spot. With that said, there's really not a need to overthink value today or overthink pricing. There's just so much underpriced. So many underpriced bats on this slate where it really doesn't matter. So if you think Wainwright can get you into the 25 fantasy point area, that's fine. I don't want to stack D-backs. I do want to stack Cardinals. Let's move on to the next game, which is one of the underpriced games that we just talked about. We did have both these lineups confirmed, right? No, I did not. All right, First Show, Pavin Smith, Peralta, Seth Beer. I think I put it in. I never green lighted it. Yeah, that's what happened. So let's green light these lineups. Tommy Edman, Goldie, O'Neill, Arenado, Pujols, Carlson, Bader, Molina, DeYoung. All right, cool. Let's put in Coors Field. This game is really, really cheap. Jonathan India, Tyler Naquin, Tommy Pham, Joey Votto, Kyle Farmer, Nick Senzel, Mike Moustakas, Colin Moran, Ramos Garcia, Hunter Green, Rockies back in Coors. Also, so I guess, to touch on it, if this is your first or second baseball slate, you should do some reading on Coors Field. this is the most hitter-friendly park in baseball. It's because of one, the altitude helps a lot, and that's what a lot of people will point at. Thinner air, ball plays different, which is true. And they also have the biggest outfield in baseball to kind of suppress power. So it'll be one of those parks that does a lot of doubles, a lot of triples, stuff like that. So make yourself aware of that information. Because of that, when Coors is on a slate, it tends to be the first thing a lot of people look at because it is such a plus environment. And today is a unique day, especially for DraftKings, where the entire Reds team is under 3K outside of Jonathan India, and that's just oof, that's rough. And they're up against Senzatella, who is a big ground ball guy and allows a high average to both sides. With that said, in baseball, if a bad team, and I think the Reds are statistically the worst team in baseball, I think. Let me double check that. WRC plus. WRC plus. Cincinnati's the worst team in baseball. It's a 69 WRC plus. If that price range draws ridiculous ownership for the worst team, I think the right move, results be darned, is to fade it and let the plebs have it. So I'm going to have more of a pulse on ownership as the day progresses. I am curious to see where they land on really both sides, but especially DraftKings. Something to keep an eye on. Hunter Green's on the bump here at 6,500 for the Reds. He throws gas. I mean, he just throws gas. There's no way around it. And gas will play at the big league level, but it's also something where hitters, professional hitters, can start cheating on pitches and look for a specific pitch. So if you're going to be known for one pitch, well, eventually, this is 2022. These hitters have seen 100-mile-an-hour pitches for half a decade, if not longer now. So play discipline. Let's go to game log on Hunter Green. Green has sustained a 14% swing and strike rate on the season. St. Louis got him to go under 10%. And if you look at the pitch type for him, 65% on that fastball, 25% on that slider, the changeup, almost a 90-mile-an-hour changeup, by the way. We talked about Kyle Hendricks' fastball being like 87. So yeah, this is gonna be a guy where 60% of the time you could cheat fastball. Good luck catching up. You still gotta hit it, but that does make him a little bit of a concern in this situation. And I think at 6,500, I think if you're looking for home run points, you're looking for 12 fantasy points, something like that. It's not outside the realm of possibility, but just some game theory to toss around. Last year he had a little bit of a home run problem to righties. Let's go look at his splits so far this season, see if either side is showing some leaks. Stock is like the biggest fall from where he was with Milwaukee. Yeah, that's unfortunate. The Moose against righties, 250 average, 240 to lefties. Pretty split there. Has allowed 2 homers to righties, 1 homer to lefties. So the home run problem is still there, and that's going to happen with fastball guys. The BABIP is elevated. The whip against lefties is really high. XFIP is okay. Batted ball data versus both sides of the plate, a 43.8% hard contact rate to lefties, just an 18% to righties. Fly ball rate and line drive rate up there against lefties. He does have a positive, I guess it's 1-to-1 ground ball to fly ball rate, but that line drive rate's elevated. So the Rockies don't really give us a lot of lefties to believe in. Charlie Blackmon has shown a little bit of hit potential lately, but Ryan McMahon is kind of a fringe. A guy for power, Hilliard, Dom Nunez, not guys we're looking at here. So maybe Hunter Green does live. I'm curious to see where the Rockies and the Reds end up in ownership tonight. Rockies did carry the Coors price tags. CJ Cron, he's battling for a home run lead with like Anthony Rizzo, guys like that right now. Connor Joe is 6K. So you're not getting the Coors, you're not getting a discount on the Rockies today. And you could probably say that Hunter Green, his velo is high enough to play in this game where you could, maybe make this a little bit more neutral game and maybe make the Rockies overpriced versus the Reds being underpriced. So it really comes down to ownership. I'm likely to do the exact opposite of what the ownership says on a big Friday night slate. And I just think that's the process. Even though Senzatella is a low K guy, big contact guy, that's by design. So we'll keep an eye on that. I will say this: I'm gonna be on the Awesemo Live before lock later today, and they have really, really good ownership projections. So we'll have a better pulse on the ownership for both teams, and then maybe we'll have a better idea of what I'm gonna do. So make sure to check that show out. My boy Terry, I believe, is the driving that ship today. So let's get on to this next game. The Guardians taking on the Athletics. Miles Straw, Ahmed Rosario, Jose Ramirez. Breaking news: Trevor Bauer receives 2-year suspension. Okay, that was a little late. Owen Miller, Josh Naylor. Guardians kind of came down to earth the last 2 series, huh? Austin Hedges, Andres Jimenez. Other than Jose Ramirez, obviously, he's a beast. Palacios, good little contact guy. Did I spell his name wrong? Richard Palacios? Is it Rich Palacios? No, it's Richard. All right. I guess he just has less than 10 at-bats, a sample size. Athletics versus a righty. Tony Kemp. Sheldon. God dang. Steven Piscotty. Elvis Andrews, Christian Bethencourt. Oh, Christian Pache. Why did I type Bethencourt? I mean, he's on the team, right? But not on this. Nick Allen. Frankie Montas on the bump for the Athletics. All right. Neither lineup is confirmed. The Guardians have just a 3-run total as their implied total. The Athletics are at 3.7. So Savali has a little bit of a bugaboo with power against righties the last couple years. Also last year against lefties. How much sample size do we have of him this season? What might we expect on him? New to baseball, what's like 2 good plays on Fanduel? Man, Arizona. I would probably say if you're brand spanking new and you're only going to run like 1 to 4 lineups, even if it's just one lineup, I'd probably go find 3 stacks you like, grab 2 bats from each stack, and try to get them into a lineup. So he got up to 74 pitches, so not expecting the world here. This also just might end up being a lackluster game for my ownerships because Savali I don't think he has the length to break a slate, I guess is what I'm saying. This Athletics lineup does strike out a bunch, and this is a super pitcher-friendly park, but this is just like vomit versus vomit, right? Oof. Montas on the bump though for the Athletics. This Guardians team has shown some good pitchers to have good games. So if you think Montas is worth having, especially as like a late night hammer type of guy, he's got the talent for sure. We just have to feel better about the matchup. So far this season, Montas has sustained a 15% swing and strike rate. Every game's been above 13%. The first pitch strike rate, other than the Baltimore game's been at 68% min. The batted ball data has given us a 267 xFIP, 265 Sierra. Really good numbers. The ground ball rate's at 50%. The fly ball rate's at 30%. That's fine in that park. Line drive rate is okay. The pull rate's fine. So he's been really doggone good. And his mistakes, if any, this year have come against lefties. A 313 slugging on 2 homers and 8 hits allowed. Has allowed 3 extra base hits, 9 total earned runs in 19 innings. So the advanced metrics are certainly on his side here. But he is leaving the door open with this 1-3 home run per 9 to lefties for a guy like Jose Ramirez to enter the chat. So that'd be the one that I'm worried about is Jose Ramirez. But past that, at 8,100 on DraftKings, he's priced below what the metrics would say he is, right? If I had put a price on those metrics, it's probably 9,500. And he's giving you 20 plus fantasy points 3 games straight. That the Philly game, let's look at the game log here. And this is also, for those of you that are new, results are not necessarily predictive, right? In baseball, we get really, really strong analytics, advanced analytics, sabermetrics, or whatever you want to call it, that tell more of a predictive value story than a result story. So that's why I say don't worry about BVP, don't worry about ERA. Anyone that's throwing those around, I feel like they're wasting time because it doesn't tell the story. Well, game log wise for Montas in that Philly game, he had a 2.28 xFIP, a 2.59 Sierra. Why did he get beat up? Why did he allow 5 earned runs, 6 hits, stuff like that? Well, more than likely his BABIP was going to be through the roof for that game. So we're going to look at that number. He had a 357 BABIP, elevated, not as bad as I thought it would be. I thought it would be like 450 or something like that, but it was up there. Maybe that home run did him dirty. And then the xFIP being 228. So when the xFIP is below 3, think of the xFIP and Sierra kind of as like the ERA, like replace ERA with one of those two, if not both. Probably means the defense didn't do him a favor. He got an unlucky bloop, something like that. He just got unlucky. And looking at a 47% ground ball rate, 20% hard contact rate, I would say there's certainly some elements that suggest he was pretty unlucky there. And I wouldn't look. I think we're getting maybe a discount because of that. I think 8,100 on DraftKings, really, really cheap, even considering the Guardians do have some pesky guys at the plate that may not strike out that much. So I will get to Montas on DraftKings for sure. Demerit leading off for the Braves, no Acuna. Acuna was 1 for 5 last night, 2 strikeouts. Honestly, I think he's washed. If I was the Braves, I'd probably trade him to a team like, I don't know, the Yankees, just to maybe try and get something in return for him. I don't know what they can get for him. Maybe a couple minor leaguers at this point. He's kind of washed. So hopefully the Braves make that move. I hope there's like one guy out there that doesn't know me and he just like is flipping tables right now. Somewhere I could feel like Cam flipping me off on that entire statement. All right, Tigers at the Dodgers. Next game on the docket. Derek Hill, Robbie Grossman, Javier Baez, Miguel Cabrera, Spencer Torkelson, Jonathan Scope, Jamer Candelario, Eric Haas, Willie Castro, Tyler Alexander. What have I done wrong? Dodgers. Battle with some southpaws going at it. All right, chat, if you're looking for some NBA props, going to be hanging with Josh about 30-40 minutes on this channel, talking about tonight's NBA game. 2 stolen bases for Acuna. Yeah. I mean, whatever. He's not good. Somewhere a Braves fan just unsubscribed. What up, Conscious? Alexander comes into the season with a 4.27 expected ERA. Tyler Anderson, 4.21 expected ERA. The K rates are pretty doggone similar. I mean, there's a lot of parity in these numbers between the two. That said, I'm probably likely to not get to either. I can't really see myself pitching against the Dodgers tonight. If that's the nuts, that's the nuts. Alexander, last outing, 80 pitches. Yeah, cool. And then Tyler Tyler Anderson, Mister. He got to 80 pitches as well. Wow, these guys are having really similar experiences so far. So I probably rule out getting to either pitcher. But let's look at Alexander, right? We'd probably be more likely to stack up on the Dodgers. Rizzo, Hopper, then fill in with Braves. I can see that. Although Rizzo's against the lefty, right? That lineup come out yet? The idea that I had was that Gallo probably gets a day off, although Gallo does have a pair of homers lately, right? Maybe you don't want to ice him, but it's the matchup. So splits on Alexander against righty so far, 5 earnies, 1 bomb, 2 doubles, allowing a .438 slugging. Obviously, could be better, could be worse. What's the plate discipline? 7% swing and strike rate, so that's really low. That's really low. Because last year, I guess last year he was more of a contact guy anyway. We're stacking Dodgers. We're just gonna do it. I don't need to overthink it. We'll adjust based on ownership. I don't think I'm gonna stack the Tigers here, but Tyler Anderson did have a little bit of a home run problem to righties last year. Doesn't strike him out as much. So maybe on a later slate, I could easily justify a guy like Javi Baez, maybe Eric Haas, guys like that. Maybe they would be a sneaky stack, but I do think the Dodgers could cut the game in half, get to that bullpen if they had to. So something to keep an eye on. We're getting a lot of lineups here. I only got one more game to throw in the mix. And then we'll go back. We'll update some lineups. We'll fill some questions. Maybe we'll look at some props. See what we can get behind. I know a lot of you guys. I think PrizePicks put out another deposit bonus. I was wondering if someone signed up this morning using my code and got that bonus, and then they took this other bonus. Could they double? Like literally, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know the rules, so don't catch me saying that those are rules. I'm just wondering, could you get really quadruple on, or at least double, maybe even triple on a bankroll by just taking advantage of these bonuses? Something to think about. Maybe I'll have to ask him. I call Franco. All right, so we're getting the Nats typed up in here, and this is the last game on the slate. And then we will go catch up on all the rest of the lineups. Aaron Sanchez. He used to play for the Giants, or no? He was with the Blue Jays. I want to say the Astros. I don't know. I don't know why I got this feeling like he might have played for the Giants, but I could be wrong. Ormo Flores, Brandon Crawford, Aaron Ruff, Luis Gonzalez, Tyro Estrada, former Yankee great, Jason Vossler, Joey Bart, and Alex Wood. All right, we got a 3-run total for the Nats, 4.6 for the Giants. So Giants looking okay. Sanchez coming into this season with 35 innings of sample size last year, 300 average allowed to righties, 164 home run per 9 allowed to righties. What are we looking at this season for Sanchez? If I remember, I want to say this is the guy that had like busted his fingernail or something with some blisters and all kinds of weird stuff. Actually, let me see. Hey, it was with the Giants. My brain. 3% swing and strike rate. Is that what you want? No, it's not. It's not what you want. It is only a small sample here, so 4.1 innings. I mean, to put that in perspective, that's it might be lower than Zach Greinke. So, do we have an Aaron Sanchez strikeout prop? We do, and it's at 3. That's intriguing on the under. I guess there is some K race that maybe he can get lucky with. But you would like to see that swing and strike rate be higher, and it's not like we have much to shoot for the last 2 seasons of sample size. So 3 might be a push, and that might be something I flirt with. Just keep an eye on that. So I want to pick on Sanchez. What's the batted ball telling us this year so far? Short sample size, 4.46 xFIP, of course. Line drive. He's keeping a ball on the ground. I'll give him that. Let's go split it up against righties. Righties was this big power split last year. 1 double. Not enough sample size to build off of. I think we just bet on the Giants here. And we'll see what they do. They might put Jock in the leadoff spot and then sub out Austin Slater or vice versa. I think Slater's on paper in a fine spot, but I've been getting messed over with playing Jock Peterson leading off in the absence of Mike Yastrzemski. So we'll keep an eye on this Giants lineup. I'd probably get to them. I think, do we still have the bullpen stack here? Oh, we actually have that in a spreadsheet. Bullpen for the Nats have been okay. They haven't been giving up bombs. They've been walking hitters. So I'd probably get to a couple of these bats here if we get, like, I don't know, Slater, Belt. Yeah. No warm and fuzzies, though. Alex Wood on the bump here for the Giants. Last year, 26% K rate, 12.5% swing and strike rate. The barrel rate really low. The C strike percentage really, really solid. So throughout the first couple of games so far this season, deposit a few times now with different bonuses. Hey, you gotta do that, man. Might as well if you're gonna bet anyway. And I don't mean to go, don't stretch your. Don't bet what you would. Don't deposit what you wouldn't want to lose, obviously. But if you know you're gonna play, take advantage of any type of bonuses that are out there. They're gonna get theirs. They're gonna get their rake. They're gonna get, especially the parlay sites. But with that said, if you're only got a couple $100 in the bank account and you see that and your eyes light up, man, be responsible. Don't do it. But might as well take advantage of it if you got it like that, or if you intended to play anyway. Be responsible. All right, we got a 9.6% swing and strike rate for a couple games this season. Less than a 3x FIP, a 3 Sierra. So for all intents and purposes, Alex Wood's been solid. It doesn't look like the metrics support him being a huge strikeout guy, but he is somebody that I don't want to go out of my way to pick on. About a strikeout per inning so far. 8,700. Could I get to 20? Maybe. Looking at this Nats lineup, not a ton of big Ks in there either, though. So I'm lukewarm on Alex Wood. Nothing really that I want to go pick on. Ground ball rate's been really, really solid. I do want to maybe look at his pitch usage this year versus what we had last year, because Wood's been kind of like evolving. Fastball, slider, changeup. Last year, this year, fastball, slider, changeup, all about the same. Fastball's at 93-ish. He found some velocity on his fastball. Slider is same on the slider. So did find a little bit of velo. Wait, what? Slider, 85. I'm tripping. 85 to, all right, so a little bit. So I don't want to necessarily go out of my way to pick on Alex Wood, but I will get to some of these Giants bats based on these Sanchez metrics. And yeah, so let's get the, this deposit bonus not available to new users. New members receive the new, okay, that makes sense. So let's get some new lineups in. Before I do that, let's do a PrizePicks drop. If you guys haven't signed up for PrizePicks yet, you want to simplify the approach playing some baseball. Maybe you're lukewarm, you're trying to learn it. You can definitely test out the PrizePicks waters for baseball. I will say, if you were playing prop betting for football, for basketball, whatever it is, baseball is gonna be a little bit more frustrating. So I highly recommend sticking to the flex. Right, keep the eyes low. If you do want to get into like a 4 or 5 pick power or something like that, rotate the 2 pick powers, kind of raise your floor there, and then focus on stuff that's a little bit more predictive. The no run first innings, maybe the strikeouts, pitcher out, stuff like that. I do like to get to hitter fantasy scores when I like a stack in DFS. Like I said, we got to rotate them. So if you're not on PrizePicks, you want to check them out, go to PrizePicks, sign up using my code. They'll actually double your first deposit up to $100. And then we try and give you tools that you can use to maybe sniff out some of the better plays there. I'm gonna put 2 links in the chat because I have a similar deal with Underdog as well. So both sites very similar. You'll get different lines and you'll get different things that you can put action on. PrizePicks and Underdog. 2 links in the chat. If you sign up, both sites will double your first deposit up to $100, and you can mix and match and maybe baby your way into some action. Especially even if you're just like a DFS guy, Friday nights get a little bit crazy. So when you look up at the end of the night and you don't have that 5-man, I don't know, 5-man Tiger stack or something like that, well, maybe your guy still got there for you to make a little scratch on the prop betting site. So we'll dig around. We'll look at a few props. But before I do that, let me get the lineups updated from what did come out. And we'll see if any opinions have changed based on what we talked about earlier. So let me get to the top here. I don't have a Red Sox Orioles lineup yet. Astros, we do have. We got Chas McCormick. So we were looking to see, make sure there's no vaccination surprises. McCormick, Michael Brantley, Bregman, Alvarez, Yuli Gurriel, Kyle Tucker, Aledmus Diaz, Pena, and Martin Maldonado. As projected, that's a good thing. Blue Jay Springer, Bo Bichette, Vladdy Jr., Lourdes Gurriel, playing against his brother. That's fun. Zach Collins in the 5 spot. Little 5-hole catcher action, sure. Matt Chapman, Raimel Tapia, Santiago Espinal. I picked him up in season long. His underlying metrics are looking good as a hitter. We're still there on the Blue Jay stack. I like the righties quite a bit. Twins lineup is confirmed. Buxton, Luis Arraez, Carlos Correa, Jorge Polanco, Kepler, Gio Urshela, Trevor Larnach, Gary Sanchez over Jeffers, and then Nick Gordon in the 9 spot. So Jeffers had been the hotter bat, but Sanchez on the bump here. I wonder how I wonder if Gary's caught Dylan and how that's looked, because Dylan has certainly had a history of maybe doing better with certain catchers. I think it was Caleb Joseph with the Orioles. They used to always wait for him to catch him. And Gary, we know, does have a little bit of a defensive woes worth working on. Brandon Lau, Wander Franco, Yandy Diaz, Josh Lowe is batting cleanup. Randy Rosarena, Kevin Kiermaier, Mike Zunino, Brett Phillips, and Taylor Walls as our confirmed Rays lineup. And Chad, do you guys have any props that you're on for baseball? We'll double check with the spreadsheet, see if the K prop, the K predictor agrees with you, or the bomb detector agrees with you. Phillies lineup came out: Gene Segura, Rhys Hoskins, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber batting 5th, JT Real Muto batting 6th, Alec Boehm, Didi, Odubel Herrera in the lineup. Mets lineup: Brandon Nimmo, Starling Marte, Lindor, Pete Alonso, Eduardo Escobar, Robbie Cano, Mark Canha, Jeff McNeil, and James McMahon as projected. McCann, not McMahon. What the White Sox, this is the one. Tim Anderson, Andrew Vaughn, Yasmani Grandal batting 3rd. Oh yeah, this is looking like the lineup that old gun wanted. Jose Abreu, 5 spots, gonna be Luis Robert. Yes, that's what we're looking for. Gavin Sheets, Jake Berger, amazing name. Jay Hay, Josh Harrison, Jay Hay, Luis Robert, and Tim Anderson. If those guys get on, it's over. It's over. It is over. It is literally, you can hit start and then you can hit. It's over. If you were sweating Syndergaard and one of those 3 guys got on, just give it up 2 stolen bases, man. Braves lineup is out. Albies, Matt Olson. All right, Austin, Travis Demeritte. Man, okay. We'll have to look into him to see. Obviously, someone believes that he is leadoff material here. Austin Riley, Marcelo Zuna, Darno. Ozzy's batting 5th. That's interesting. Maybe they're just trying to play the matchup to get Ozzy maximum appearances, maybe against the long reliever. I don't know. Guillermo Heredia. But even then, it's not like I'm running from Garrett Richards, so that's weird. Hurry closer, Johnny Dansby. Is Demeritte, is he still DHing? Are they leaving that spot open in case they want Acuna's bat later in the game? Let's see. Let's pull up Braves Twitter. That just seems like a weird move. No, he's playing right field. Hey, I mean, maybe they leave it open for Acuna to swap in and pick up a bat if he needed to. That just seems weird. I mean, what? Let me look up his minor numbers. Maybe he's just like slow starting it in the majors. See a speed, high OBP guy that has some catching up to do. Minor league career, 248 average, 822 OPS. So far this season, though, 357 average. Okay, cool. 1 OPS. All right. 14 at-bats, though. Like, it's not... In the minors this year, batting 283, 990, low stolen base. All right, I guess if we bring the sliders forward to this year, okay, try something new. Why not? Rangers lineup was out. Cole Calhoun, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia's batting cleanup. Nathaniel Lowe. I don't know why I'm retyping that. Control Z. Nope. Sick hole is going to be Mitch Garver, Brad Miller, Willie Calhoun, Andy Abajes. All right. Yankees lineup not out yet. Brewers lineup is out. Colton Wong, Willie Adames, Christian Yelich, Andrew McCutchen, Roddy Tellez, Hunter Renfroe, Omar Narvaez, Lorenzo Cain, and former Yankee great Jason Base Peterson. Jason Base. All right, we got caught up. All right, let's get fishing for chats and props. Which White Sox guys is safe to get on? Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, and probably Josh Harrison would be guys I look for to run, especially Tim and Robert. Which MLB pitcher is most likely to go over on PrizePicks strikeouts? All right, cool. We'll look at that. Like Demerit is just in Acuna's spot, but that's going to be the everyday lineup. Yeah. Gonna need a util. I got 4,600. Can be anybody on Fanduel. A util for 4,600. I'm sure that wouldn't be too hard to find. I'll tell you what. Let's go bomb detecting. See what we like. So when I get questions like that, Arizona, because you list your lineup, you know what I mean? Like usually I want correlation in what I'm gonna suggest. So like if you had two people or one person from another team, if there's somebody that makes sense as a good play pre-flop that also correlates with somebody else in your lineup. With that said, looking at the bomb detector, Tyler O'Neill's at the tippy top. Goldie's up there. We're looking at 4,600 or less with a positive projected spot or confirmed spot in the order. Aaron Judge is under 4K against contact lefty. If he's in the lineup, he might be due for a day off. Tommy Edman. All the Cardinals are going to be at the top of the bomb detector. Austin Riley makes sense. Byron Buxton. No, you said 46. Byron Buxton leading off. You're going to get probably 5-6 at-bats out of him. At minimum 5, right? Well, you would think 5. We'll see. So there's a couple names there. All right, let's go look at the PrizePicks pitch strikeout board here. So I didn't look at the first game or the first couple games. We're just focused on the main slate. See if anything screams here. Megill's an intriguing one at 5.5. Right? Depending on what did this Phillies lineup come out? I know it just. So Phillies lineup did come out, and Megill had a near 30% K rate to righties last year. And we'll see what he's looking like so far this year. Splits. K percentage. Control F. Against righties, he has a 30. He's actually got a higher, small sample, so about 35.5% K rate to righties so far, right? And there's only there's 4 lefties, so there are some lefties here. But against these righties, looks like Hoskins is worth 1 and 4. There's some room for strikeouts in this lineup. Maybe 5.5 is the appropriate price. What kind of pitch projection should we put on him in the K Factory? He got to 90 pitches, so let's do a 90 pitch projection in the K Factory. And at 90 pitches, I'm getting 6.8, so that's probably appropriate. But I do get a full strikeout over, so I don't know if I had to make a list. And this is, again, we flex everything, and it's no all in. But if we had to, Tyler Megill over 5.5 Ks would be something that the K Factory suggests. What else are we looking at here? Cortez at 5.5 is pretty low for his success lately. Mad Bum at 3.5 is intriguing because he's not really missing bats like that. While he's not dying, he's not missing bats, right? And on top of that, the Cardinals don't strike out a lot. 7.8% swing and strike rate for Mad Bum. And then the Cardinals, Control F Cardinals. Cardinals have an inflated K rate against lefties. I wonder what that's about. But Tyler O'Neill can strike out. Carlson, Bader, Paul DeJong, they all have decent K rates. So there's about 4 1-4s. I'd be somewhat interested in Mad Bum's under 3.5. I would. And hope that he gets in a jam. So I would add that to my list. Somewhat, not a lot, right? Somewhat. We'll go Mad Bum under 3.5 Ks. Frankie Montas is appropriately priced at 6. Hunter Green at 4.5. Aaron Sanchez is at 3. I'd be interested in the under to an extent. Aaron Sanchez. I like Senzatella's fantasy score. I don't think I could bank on a contact pitcher in Coors. Sanchez got to 64 pitches, so 75 pitches for Senzatella is probably like the max I would put him at. And he hasn't shown swing and miss stuff in a while. So if I put 70 pitches on him in the K Factory, I'm getting like 4. But even then, that's not based on a large sample. Based on the lineup, I would probably be interested in Sanchez. He probably pushes at 3, to be honest, but we'll see. Sanchez under 3 asterisk. I know these are low numbers, right? You don't want to sweat them, but it is what it is. All right, let's look at more first inning stuff. What's our lowest run total games? I probably wouldn't expect a run unless Jose got one. I probably wouldn't expect a run in the Oakland game in the first inning. So, is that on here? Guardians and the Athletics? It is not. Maybe they add that later, but I guess they are in agreement with that. Did they give us Phillies and Mets? They did not. Man, they're being really selective, aren't they? All right, they didn't really give us much to like here. Maybe the Red Sox and Orioles. Right, Rich Hill can ground ball his way into, and Kyle Bradish. They might take a. All right, we'll add that. No warm and fuzzy, right? No 10 out of 10 on the so we'll find 5 runs first inning. And let's go look at hitters. I want to look at base stealers for the White Sox. So let's go Chicago. If I just type white, no, we gotta look at it. All right, cool. What is the abbreviation for Chicago? White. Okay, there it is. All right, Tim Anderson over 5.5 fantasy points. Yeah, I like that. We talked about if he so much as gets hit by a pitch against Thor, he's going to steal a base. The stolen base is worth 5 fantasy points over here. So we're gonna go over 5.5 FPS. And that was it. They didn't give us any of these other stolen bases. If they added Robert to the board, I'd probably take a shot on him. And then looking through and through, just cross-referencing the bomb detector. Maybe we'll see if the Cardinals have some low ratings. Goldie's at 6.5. 1.5 total bases. I'd probably mix and match some of these Cardinals, but I'm a sucker for the Cardinals. Yankees. I always do this. NYOI. Judges at 8.5. Holy cow. They priced the Yankees right. And the Yankees lineup isn't out yet, but I think they priced them right. Alright. Lastly, we'll look at pitcher outs. Usually if I'm looking for a line specifically on pitcher outs, I'm looking for either 14.5 or something below 18. When you get above 18, I don't really deal with it because you're expecting the manager to send his starter back out after 6 innings, you know? So I kind of stay away from that. So I don't mind. Once we get past 18 outs, I usually stay away. Thor's at 16.5, so that's 5.1 innings. Or 5.1 to 5.2, whether you're on the over or the under, based on what your thoughts on the White Sox. The under could correlate with some of these White Sox hitter fantasy points. Giolito is implied for 5 innings, and his I think we talked about his pitch count wasn't like super stretched out, so probably gonna stay away from that. So, yeah, it could get to 85, but I don't want to. He's gonna have to be super efficient, right? Corey Kluber's at 5.1. Aaron Nola's at 6 innings. Mad Bum's at 5 innings. Nestor Cortez at 17.5. So even if he does regress on the strikeouts, I still think he's good to go long. Could he get through 6 innings? I mean, he really has been an innings guy, at least the last couple. But he's also been pretty efficient. So I'd be somewhat intrigued with that one. Frankie Montas is implied for 6.1 innings. Tyler Anderson at 5 innings. And Sanchez is under 5 innings. Tyler Anderson at 5 innings. Do we believe in that? Hasn't hit it yet. Could have almost hit it against San Diego. I have to let that one simmer. All right, what about underdog? And then we'll roll out. So underdog allows you to bet other stuff too. The rivals. Again, if you're not an underdog, code Gundacker, links in chat somewhere. Springer over 1.5 bases is intriguing. I like to stick with the fantasy points. They do give us pitch counts for pitchers instead of like outs sometimes. Let's see if there's any egregious differences. They have Dylan Bundy at 80.5 pitches. I feel like that's a little low. Maybe it's right on the mark. If you expect a stretch of 10 plus, though, there might be room for the over. Jeffers not in the lineup. That would void. Kluber's at 88.5. So if you thought the Twins could get to him, 88.5 would probably be on the high end, especially since that's like where he's capped out lately. So I'd probably mention that Corey Kluber under 8.5 pitches as a thought. Put that in my notes. Mike Zunino, low hit guy. Megill is at 5.5 Ks. Was Megill at 6 Ks on PrizePicks? Megill, no, he's at 5.5. I'm slightly leaning the over on that. So that is 1-to-1 from underdog to them. And let's see what they got on White Sox. So I do got to get us out of here for the NBA show. Chicago. Let's go Anderson. 6 fantasy points over there. Yeah, I'd probably be interested in the over as well. So that's a couple of ideas. If you guys want to play around with the K predictor, the home run detection, all that good stuff, you guys can get yourself a subscription at rundfs.com. It unlocks access to it. Any notable 1v1s here? Luis Robert versus Rendon. So Rendon is a tough matchup against Giolito. Robert could steal some bases. That's a fun one. They give Thor a 2-strikeout handicap versus Giolito. That's interesting. But they don't give us Tim Anderson, huh? Buxton versus Wander Franco is intriguing. There's some good ones. Some close ones. Castellanos and I'm gonna look through this a little bit more during the pre-log voice chat. See what we can come up with. I know you guys are looking forward to playing some props tonight with just one basketball game. I get it. J-Ram versus Elvis Andrews, 1-1 for hits. That's fun. All right, cool. Let's get caught up on chat and we'll get out of here. Who would be your 4-man White Sox? So, Anderson, Robert, easily my top 2 that I got to get to because I'm looking for stolen bases there. I'd probably want to get Grandal and Abreu. Gavin Sheets has been swinging a decent stick for power. Jake Berger, a couple homers lately. But if I absolutely had to walk away with 2, it would be I want Anderson and Robert no matter what. I need those 2 in my life. And then Grandal's a good little switchy. If they do bring in, I don't know if the Angels have a lefty available today. Angels. Remember, the Angels bullpen has allowed the most homers so far too. They would have Aaron Loop. He probably wouldn't be available. So a bunch of righties. So you can really kind of key in on Gavin Sheets to see a righty for 8-9 innings, right? I like no runs on the White Sox game. Man, Willie, I'm scared. If Tim Anderson gets on, that dude's in scoring position ASAP. Yankee Cortez due for a bad outing. Regression to the mean, so go under with 17.5 outs. Maybe. I don't think he's... I think... Obviously, the numbers tell us that Sierra and XFIP, although this year those numbers have been fine, that he would be due for regression, but it's been saying that for a while. He's funky enough that he's been getting by with it. 5.5, 6 fans for Timmy Anderson. I like that. Yeah, I'm just wanting that game. All right, chat, I ran a little bit over. It is what it is. We got a 1-game NBA slate to talk about, so if you guys want to keep hanging out, I'm going to be on here with Josh for the next hour or so. So stay tuned. Stay right here. It'll bring you to the next stream, and then we'll talk about the 1-game NBA slate, man. I appreciate you guys making part of my afternoon, be part of your afternoon. We did get a Yankees lineup. LeMahieu, Judgy, Rizzo, Stanton, Glaber, Tim LaCastro is out there over. Oh, Aaron Hicks is back. Baby game. No Andahar, but no Gallo as expected. So, man, Hicksy only took a couple days off. What are you going to do? Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Let's cross it. Hey, I'll be back for more baseball today on the Awesome Live Before Lock. Make sure you're checking that out, and then we'll talk some basketball for a little bit. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.